Hi there, thanks for joining us. It's The Sweet Spot, Bruce Millington and Steve Palmer, having our regular weekly golf natter, looking ahead to the tournaments that lie ahead and looking back on last weekend. And last weekend, Steve, it was agony in Gran Canaria for the tips. I mean, we were never really in with a shout, were we? But you put one egg in the Zurich Classic basket, and it looked like it was going to hatch into a beautiful chick, but nothing happened in the end. So how's your pecker, mate? Are you all right? How's your spirits?
Well, last week we discussed how I probably deserved a public flogging. Do you remember, for failing to tip Stuart Singh for the Heritage? But I think this time we got to go straight to the guillotine. I think I deserve to be maybe hung, drawn, and quartered, and then to the guillotine. Because
what did you do wrong?
It was criminal behaviour to not tip a winner last week. I could just about handle not having Smith and Leishman. I mean, they weren't much of a price. It was windier than I anticipated. That played into their hands. They're very good in the wind. So I can handle that one, but I just cannot handle not tipping Garrett Higgo for the Gran Canaria. That was a disgusting criminal act, and I apologise to the listeners. I had a Gran Canaria shortlist of 8, got it down to 6. And then Higgo was dumped from the list. Sam Horsfield was last off the list. Higgo was the penultimate off the list. But it was the reasons for getting rid of Higgo that have made me so angry. You can overanalyze tournaments if you spend too long umming and harring, as we like to say. And with that one, Garrett Higgo won the Open de Portugal last year. Okay, so you got a low-scoring track there overlooking the Atlantic Ocean. That is amazing form. It should have been all systems go based on that, and is improving form in Austria. He improved every day in Austria. It was an absolute gift horse. But then I started looking at that Portugal course a bit more, and decided it wasn't directly along the coast. It was 5 minutes from the coast, slightly inland.
What does it matter how close it is to the coast?
Because the course we were playing last week, you had half the track directly along the coast. So I taught myself out of the Higgo on the basis of the Portugal form not being on the coast. So it was a disgusting behaviour. And then I got wrapped up in the Paspalum grass with Kurt Kitayama. So just too much emphasis on the Paspalum grass, and not enough appreciation of that Portugal form from Higgo. If you keep it simple, he's played very, very similar course there in Portugal and won. And he's got so much scope for improvement. He's going on 40-1. Yeah, it was.
You should give Birch a call, Richard Birch, our horse race tipster. Of all the horse race tipsters, he's got the simplest sort of philosophy on tip, and he just goes for the one he fancies. Doesn't try and overcomplicate it. I mean, he obviously does his homework. But, he's just got that lovely sort of, that'll do for me. That's the one. And it's not always right, obviously, but, he doesn't overcomplicate matters. But I've got to say, though, Steve, this Garrett Higgo is becoming quite an operator, isn't he? Could be a force to be reckoned with, couldn't he?
I think you're absolutely right. He has rapid career progress. He's turns 22 next month, 2 wins in 24 European Tour starts. Doesn't appear to have an obvious weakness. We were all over him for the Kenya Open. He folded out the places. You've got to time these things right. But he did 40-1 last week. No disrespect. He's half that price this week for pretty much the same event.
I must admit, I sort of dipped in and out of it. And the one thing that struck me, first of all, was how much I miss going to a Sunshine Isle. I mean, there was that lovely hole, I can't remember which one it is, quite late on, and the green sort of overlooks like a beautiful harbour, and the ocean was shimmering a lovely sort of sapphire blue. That was lovely. But also with Higgo, he seemed to be in trouble quite a lot. Whenever I tuned in, maybe it was just luck, but it was on the wrong fairway or getting a massive break off the cart path. I mean, it wasn't exactly a kind of flawless cruise to victory, was it? Or did I just tune in at the wrong moments?
It was a very easy resort course. You could get away with a lot of misses. I mean, he rode a hot putter. He had a very hot putter last week, so you could say that. But, I mean, the good thing about our tips is they got detached so early that at the halfway stage, you could pretty much give up on them. You could get aboard Higgo and Horsfield. I mean, Higgo was 12-1 at the halfway stage, and, I got scraped a bit of money back. But it was, it's just disappointing not beyond those anti-post prices. But, you get to Gran Canaria one day.
Oh, I'd love to. And I did notice a classic Torben Olesen performance there, sort of, in the van after 2 rounds, a pathetic Saturday, and then a sort of flattering Sunday to get himself back up in the places. He's a shocker, isn't he?
Well, that was his first tournament of the year. He's been off. He's become a father in the interim. So he's napped up to the eyeballs. Yeah, it would have been a delightful one for you if Thorburn had won, because you had the nappy factor, which I know you're a big fan of, and the man himself. But yeah, he's a troubled time, Thorbjorn. Hopefully it's all behind him.
Okay, let's move across to the Zurich Classic of New Orleans, where, as you said, Cameron Smith and Mark Leishman wore down Charles Schwartz and Louis Oosthuizen, an all Southern Hemisphere duke down the final stretch. I tell you what, Steve, I do like this format. I think it's good. I just found it really entertaining. It's a nice sort of blend of temperament and team play. Where do you stand on formats? Because it's very rare to go off piste with golf, isn't it? It's normally 4 rounds, 72 hole stroke play, cut at halfway, and that I think there's probably 20 tournaments that you wouldn't want to meddle with. But I think some of the others you can afford to just have a little tweak. And I thought this was good value.
I agree. I think a lovely, refreshing change, isn't it, from your standard stuff? There's a lot of talk last week about format of whether it should be 72 holes of alternate shot. There's a lot of people saying that the 4 balls is quite dull, and a lot of shots don't count, whereas the foursomes is guaranteed excitement, much more leaderboard volatility. Bubba Watson, one of our men last week, was campaigning for that. He liked the idea of 72 holes of stroke play. But no, it's an exciting event. We had a chance going into the final round, and then Scotty Scheffler missed a tiddler very early on. They couldn't quite hack it on the final day foursomes. Smith and Leishman, great rates. It shows how important chemistry is. We were talking about team chemistry last week. The 2 playoff combatants, friends from a very early age. Smith and Leishman, Schwartzel and Oosthuizen, and the chemistry was there.
Did anyone have bad chemistry? Was there any signs of partnerships that just didn't work, or?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say because they only show the ones that are doing well. But Cantlay and Scheffele, you talk about them being similar characters. Perhaps 2 downbeat when things were going wrong. It's quiet as a proverbial mouse in that group, wasn't it?
Yeah. You needed a kind of Graham Taylor. Come on, Rob. You did
need Taylor to rouse them because when you saw them, they just looked so downbeat and dying. So perhaps they don't bond that well.
Never mind. I did wonder whether you could have a tournament along these lines and maybe with a male and a female competitor. That would be good, wouldn't it? It'd also help sort of bring the ladies' tour into the fold. But there's more sort of things you could do, isn't there?
Absolutely.
I don't like the match play. I'm not mad on the Accenture. I don't think that works very well. It's just a bit too random. You want to make sure that it's still a game of skill, don't you, over 4 days rather than just 18 hole kind of nonsense. But I'm sure there's more they could do.
Yeah, well, if they do that tournament of 72 holes of foursomes, I find that even more exciting. So, that might be one for the Mr. Zurich to consider. Yeah. You talk about Graham Taylor. I was thinking about Phil Neal as well last week. So it was a bold decision just going with one in selection.
It was, yeah.
I don't even think Phil Neal would have given his approval to that one. Perhaps a bit too
would
bold.
You, if you'd had say 2 or 3, do you think the Aussies might have got in the plan?
Yeah, I love him. I piled into him for the World Cup and they finished second in the World Cup in Royal Melbourne. I'm big fans of both of them, more so Cameron Smith than Leishman. I don't often bat Leishman in regulation events, but Cameron Smith, he's matured into a really, really top class player now, and he carried Leishman for long periods of that last week. He's the man, Cameron Smith. I
tell you what you could do. You could group people by hairstyles, couldn't you? You could have like a team mullet. That would be quite a strong team. Who'd be in that? You'd have Smith. You'd have Tommy Fleetwood, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah,
Hoffman.
Yes,
maybe John Daly.
Yes. Good ones. Yeah, good ones. Yeah. I think Hoffman's had a trim, hasn't he? Yeah, Leishman paid homage to it by putting on a comedy wig. Did you see that? He put on a comedy wig on the first tee. Yeah, they had some fantastic banter. I mean, it's banter overdrive because Smith said he would shave the mullet off. He promised his girlfriend he would shave the mullet off if they won. And then, so one of the first questions in his media conference afterwards was, "Are you going to get rid of the mullet? You promised you go." And he's gone back on that. So
he's reneged, is he?
He's reneged on a promise to his partner. So there could be problems ahead. And as for the Oosthuizens, I mean, that must have been a difficult journey home for the Oosthuizens. I don't know whether you follow that one, but
because she flew out to see him for the first time ever.
Yeah, but he's never won in the States. He's never won a tournament in the States. So she's flown out thinking that it's about to happen and piling pressure on him, the poor lad. He gets in the playoff and just slices one straight into the water, didn't he?
He did, yeah. My goodness, that wasn't very clever, was it?
So it's all too much for Oosthuizen. Massive negative going into the Valspar, which he almost won last time it was played.
Absolutely. Now, on a brighter note, Steve, looking at the man over your left shoulder, wasn't it lovely to see a picture of Tiger Woods last week, back on his feet, a big grin on his face. He's got a fair bit of scaffolding on the old leg, but I mean, that must have lifted your spirits no end, didn't it?
It was the emphatic highlight of the week. Yeah, the week started well with Tiger Woods' picture because when I liaised with the doctors on the YouTube when it first happened, I was told it would take a year for him to be able to walk, but it seems like one of the legs looks okay, didn't it? One leg didn't have any apparatus on it. The other leg, obviously, in all sorts of trouble, I'd imagine. But the fact he's moving around a little bit is encouraging. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it'd be like Royal Rovers stuff if he could somehow conjure a way to become a competitive golfer again. Yeah, it'd be the ultimate sports ultimate comeback. He's already done the best comeback. Now he'd go for the other one, but
I just want him to be healthy and happy and enjoy the riches of his career and live out his life. Maybe do some media stuff and perhaps even take Nick Faldo's job. God, I know that Nick Faldo does some quite good analysis, but some of the sort of cheesy remarks he makes, just can't have him at all.
Yeah, he was actually in quite good form last week. He called that Leishman chipping, didn't he? I don't know if we watched the last.
Yeah, he did. But I mean,
a lot of people were thinking it's game over when the Aussies went into the water. There's an air of game over. The South Africans have got them, but Faldo very, very wise to suggest the chip-in changes everything, and it certainly did.
I do get that, but like I said, I just find his general banter and that is an absolute cringer. Anyway, anything else from last week's reflections, or should we move on?
I think I'm desperate to move on because I was crushed by last week. Garrett Higgo crushed me.
Don't be crushed, Steve. It's only golf. All right, more to life. Anyway, as we always say, it's another week, a fresh slate. We go again, and we're going to start with the Tenerife Open, the second leg of a 3-tournament swing in the Canaries. And let's have a quick look at the betting before Steve gives us his selections. Pretty much the same sort of cast as last week. Antoine Rosner 16s, Matthias Schwab 18s, Garrett Higgo 18s, Juice Loughton 25, Hansen 28, Kiefer 28, 30-1 bar. So, yeah, a lot of familiar faces from last week. Shop around for best prices and best place terms. How many selections this week, Steve?
3.
3, okay. And what's your strategy going to be? You're going to go with people who performed well last week to transfer their good form as they've made the short hop across the channel from Gran Canaria to Tenerife, or could the form be turned on its head?
I think you want to have played last week. There's some quite fancied runners who have not played last week. Yeah, it's such a similar course in a similar part of the world, short hop over there. I think you want to have warmed up last week. So my 3 have all done that. And remember at this course next week as well. It's exactly the same course. We had 2 weeks at Karen. We had 2 weeks in Kenya at Karen, didn't we? At Karen's house, and now we're having 2 weeks at Golf Costa Adeje.
Hideki.
Hideki Matsuyama.
No, Hideki. That's how you say. You've been there.
I've been. Is that the one I played with Steve Davis? Is it?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's what's it called? Playa de las Americas. It's just along from there, basically.
Oh, righty-ho.
It's a sort of swanky end of the southern part of the isle.
I knew there was one course I played in Tenerife. I wasn't sure whether it was that one. It must have been like 20 years ago. But yeah. It's. I
don't know if it's that actual course, but it's that neck of the woods where you went with Steve. Yeah,
that's how you pronounced it, did you? Okay, I remember that. And it was 6,857 yards, par 71. It's got 5 par 5s, 6 par 3s, and only 7 par 4s.
Wow.
Yeah, it's an unusual layout in that regard. We've had one European Tour event there before, the 2003 Spanish Open, won by Kenneth Ferry at 22 under par. That was when it was a par 72. It had 6 par 5s then. Very, very wide fairways, not much rough, short resort course. They'll rip it apart unless the wind blows. And I've spent the last few days obsessing about weather forecasts. It's doing my head in. The BBC weather forecast is so different to the Met Office. So do you have a strong opinion on that? The Met Office, 100%.
I just don't trust any of them. No, I don't trust any of them. But
the contrast
Lucy Virasamy, the ITV weather girl, who also does stuff for ITV Racing, she once said to me that all those apps, there's only 2 data sources. And what they do is they have little algorithms that sort of slightly distort the numbers up or down just to give it a point of differentiation. So
there's a big difference this week. I've done a bit of research. The BBC axed using the Met Office in 2015. They said it was costing much. It was costing taxpayers money. So I have been looking at that this week. But anyway, I've had a look at all of it. And
what's your conclusion?
All things considered, whether there's a drawbars or not, Antoine Rosner is the best bet at 16-1. I'm sticking with Antoine Rosner. I missed the boat with Higgo last week, and he's halved in price. Rosner's stayed the same price. There's a tiny little bit of 18-1 out there as well, so he's eased a little bit. I mean, Higgo built on that Austria form I mentioned, peaked in Gran Canaria and putted superbly. Rosner very slow out the gates in Gran Canaria, having had a month off since the match play. slowly but surely got into his groove, and he topped the greens and regulation stats on Sunday, closed with a bogey-free 64 for 15th place. Rosner's finished in the top 40 in his last 15 events. He's got some real punch off the tee now, which, he'll murder these 5 par 5s. And he's bursting with excellent form in this part of the world, as we mentioned last week. He's won a Challenge Tour event in Spain in 2019, third in the Andalucía Masters last year, second in that 2018 Open to Portugal. So of the market principles, it's between Higgo and Rosner for me. Matthias Schwab is a maiden. Uihlein has become rubbish in contention. I think they're both.
Yeah, he's awful now, isn't he? Just crumbles like a wet biscuit, doesn't he? He
does. And they've really been respected in the market, Schwab and Lewitton. You're getting decent price back Rosner this week. I mean, you can see Kurt Kitayama bouncing back from his miscut on the mark last week. Just had a very slow start. But Rosner is so hard to see out of the frame. I think a third European Tour title for Rosner's coming on Sunday.
Okay, he's the main selection, and I'll do a nice song, and to give you a chance to glug your Diet Coke.
Appreciate it, Doogie. Appreciate it.
So, by the way, how's the hair looking? Take the cap.
No, not happened yet, is it? No,
I know.
No, Thursday.
I just wanted to do it before and after.
Oh, did you? All right. Yeah, it's not looking good. Just get the apple.
Oh. That's all right. I thought it would be absolutely bulging out of there, but
it's flat. It's flattened.
Oh.
Hang on.
That's all right.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you.
That's okay. You're looking forward to the haircut. What are you going to ask for?
I'm going to ask for a short one, because there's so many grey hairs creeping in there. I mean, this is what happens when you've been punting on golf for 30 years. It gives you grey hairs, no doubt about it. So yeah, I just say get all the grey hairs out there and make me look pretty, boy.
Okay, mate. Antoine Rosner's the main selection, and you're also going for?
Next best is Uihlein Højgaard. Once one of the most promising teenagers on the planet. He was winning pretty much everything in the amateur game in 2018. And in 2018, he even managed to win a pro event in the Nordic Golf League when he was still an amateur. He was expected to be the Højgaard brother who made the most impact early on. And that is initially what happened. He finished runner-up to Sergio Garcia in the 2019 KLM Open. But slowly but surely, it was Rasmus who established himself as the European Tour star. Rasmus won two events. So Uihlein had a little slump, but he turned 20 last month, and it seems to have, leaving the teams behind, seems to have kick-started something in him. He closed with a 67 for 7th place.
You're looking good, Steve. You're looking good, honestly.
I'm feeling it.
You're fine, mate. You're fine. Did that throw you, having to take your apparatus off?
Yeah, it does a bit, yeah.
Come on, you're looking good, mate. You're sounding good. Honestly, leave your hat and your cans alone.
It's nervous tension from Garrett Higgo. Garrett Higgo has just destroyed me. He turned 20 last month. He closed with a 67th place in the Austrian Open. And then he followed up with 15th place last week in Gran Canaria. And I love the way he's been speaking in interviews, old Uihlein. He said his long game's been coming around for a while. He hasn't been holding many putts, and now he's got the putter working. So I think Uihlein Højgaard is finally fulfilling his potential. And I think it's nice for him having Rasmus away in the States. Rasmus has been playing in the States, played in the Zurich Classic. He's playing in the Valspar this week, Rasmus. So I think it's a chance for Uihlein to show that there's two Højgaards in town.
Okay. That could be if you ever do your second book, Stephen, we always get people saying, you should write another book. It should be called Garrett Higgo Has Just Destroyed Me. I think that would be a great working title for it. And by the way, we do read all the comments underneath the YouTube feed, so please keep them coming. We love the old thumbs ups as well. I don't think we've had a thumbs down for a couple of weeks now, Steve. Do you ever go on the YouTube and have a look and see how many thumbs ups we get?
I do. Yeah. I mean, it's tragic, isn't it, for us to be worrying about it? But I do. It's the same as it used to be with Twitter. If I ever get a one thumbs down, it destroys me. You could have 200,000 thumbs up, and if you get one thumbs down, I'll be like, it's completely broken. This is why I don't go on Twitter, because I used to get loads of nice comments, like 100 nice comments. One person come on and call me or whatever, and I would just be in pieces. So
I know. Oh, well, that's not for everyone, Steve. That's fine.
Get the thumbs up. Get the thumbs up in there. And I will write another book when I've got time. I've got a load of books to write. My best friend has suggested one ages ago, many, many moons ago. Andy Fordham saved my life. Because there was one time when I was in a particularly dark patch, and then Andy Fordham won the World Darts Championship, and I found it so inspirational, it galvanised me.
Brilliant.
That'd be good. Yeah,
it would, yeah.
It would. So there's a lot of books to go.
Marvellous.
But so Rasmus. Uihlein Højgaard. We must mention it. Prodigious hitter. Really, really powerful. These 5 par 5s, he'd be literally licking his lips. Okay. And he's got some form in Spain. He finished 4th in a Nordic League event in 2019 in Catalonia. So Uihlein Højgaard, 100 to 1.
100 to 1. Wow, that's good. And the third selection?
Third selection is Pep Angles. You better get your Robbie Williams song ready again.
I've done that one. I think I've done that, Joe.
I'll just repeat it.
No reprise with that.
Let's just put it on repeat because, I'll say everything I said about him last week because this is such a similar event. He's a big hit in Spain. He had great record of success in Spain. He won a Challenge Tour event in Spain in November. 8th in the Kenya Open last month. Strong finish in Austria. Horror start in Gran Canaria last week. A double bogey at the first hole. Playing catch up after a 71, but 64, 65, 67 for 29th place. And Angles finished second to Garrett Higgo in the Open de Portugal last year. I'm not going to undervalue that form this time. And he's got a good record in along the coastline of Sicily, as we discussed last week. So, Pep Angles.
Okay. I think, by the way, that I think Spanish people would refer to him as Pep On.
Oh, blimmin' heck. You've done your homework.
That's the Spanish pronunciation of that is On.
Pep
That's
On.
mad, isn't it? On. Yeah.
On. All right.
We can't really call him that, can we? Someone goes into
a
local betting shop and right, so £2 each way, Pep Ong, O-N-G. That's not going to work, is it?
But do you remember ringing up bets? Do you ever ring up bets anymore? It's impossible.
I think you can.
No, my William Hill account is still phone. Yeah. I've never made that transfer.
What, like, it's like, hello, William Hill, Lauren speaking. Can I have your account number, please?
Yeah, you're all that business, yeah.
Really?
Well, do you remember the days when there used to be all that? I used to ring up all my bets. Imagine ringing up and speaking and then asking for Pep Ong and then just insisting he's called Pep Ong and then...
I used to find it exasperating because I bet on so many different things. You'd ring up someone and tote credit were the worst. They were lovely, but there were a lot of very senior sounding ladies from Wigan, and you'd ring up and you'd want some fairly kind of flamboyantly named wide receiver from the New Orleans Saints for his first touchdown or something.
Yeah.
And it would just
it used to be so difficult, didn't it?
Well, the first thing is they go away for ages and they come back. They go, "What sport's that?" And like,
yeah. And then they'd always say, "Oh, we're not betting on that." And they are, and you'd be there for ages. No, we haven't got any. I said, "Yes, you have. Go and find it. Go and find it." Yeah. You try. I sounded a bit aggressive there. I always try to stay really calm. So I know it's not easy, but I didn't like that fob off. That always used to be the standard fob off, didn't it?
Yeah.
But
you still telebet with William Hill. That's brilliant.
That's the one firm I haven't made the switch to it online with. Yeah.
Wow. Incredible scenes. Okay, right. Are you slightly concerned that you've shunned Higgo again?
I am slightly concerned, yeah, but I think it's got to be done because this is pretty much the same event, and it was a hot putter, and it's half the price, and I just think Rosner has stayed the same price for a really, really decent warm up that he probably needed with a little bit of rust in his system. Yeah, I think Kurt Kitayama and Higgo. Yeah, I'm staring at the shortlist right here. We should do this more often, discuss who's on the shortlist. So we mention the others because I had 8 last week. I would like to have mentioned. I should have done that, but yeah, Kitayama and Higgo and Justin Harding are the only other names on the shortlist.
Well, I mean, in your newspaper previews that always go on every Wednesday, you always do something called Others to Note, don't you? And that's basically the list of people. That could be renamed people who, if they win, I'm off to the pylon, couldn't it? Really?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it was Horsfield and Higgo number 1 and 2 last week.
Did you consider a trip to the pylon, by the way, this week?
I actually made this shows how deeply Higgo has affected me. I went to the pylon yesterday, and To still be needing the pylon on a Monday is almost unprecedented. So it's probably the one that's hit me.
Is it tranquil up there? I mean, I just think that an electricity pylon is an ugly kind of scar on the landscape. Why do you find solace there?
No. I'll take you there one day. It's not just the pylon; it's the view from the pylon. You've got a full 360-degree panoramic view of Dorsetshire.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah,
can you see Portland Bill from there?
You can see, you can see Portland. You can see Binkham Bumps is always a nice leveller. An ancient burial mound, Roman burial grounds. You've got these hubs.
There isn't a place called Binkham Bumps.
Binkham Bumps. Spent a lot of time at Binkham Bumps. You basically, if you stand on a Binkham Bump, you've got loads of dead Roman soldiers below you. The skeletons, Roman soldiers below you.
Okay, right then. Let's lift the mood.
Once got attacked by a bullet around Binkham Bumps. Once got attacked. That's another good book title. Got attacked by a bullet at
Binkham Bumps. This is brilliant. There's a whole series of them. You could be like Enid Blyton. Right then, let's get the other tournament this week. It's in America. It's the Valspar Championship. And it's a good field. Lots of big names here. Let's give you a guide to the betting. Justin Thomas, 9-1 favourite. Dustin Johnson, 11-1. Big Pat Reed, 20s. Corey Connors, 20s. Paul Casey 22, Victor Hovland's 22, 28's Tyrrell Hatton, and 30 bar. So really, really good field. I must say, Steve, I know it's called the Valspar Championship, but I know nothing else about it. Whereabouts in the States are we?
We're in Florida. Well, yeah, the animal theme is running again because we're at the Copperhead course. The Copperhead course, which is a type of snake, the Copperhead. Oh. And the final 3 holes of this course are nicknamed the Snake Pit because they can give you a nasty bite. Yeah, we're at the Innisbrook Resort, Palm Harbor. Palm Harbor spelt without a U because we're in America. 7,340 yards, par 71. Tough tree-lined layout, hosting for the 20th time. Demands solid driving and accurate approaches.
What kind of players have won there in the past? Is there a theme? There
is a theme, yeah. It used to be absolute plodders like Jim Furyk and John Zenden, but more recently need a little bit more punch off the tee. Paul Casey, of course, we must mention him going for a 3-timer. He's won the last 2 Valspar.
Oh, wow.
Casey. Do you remember? Broke our heart when we were on Oosthuizen and Kokrak in 2019. We had Oosthuizen and Kokrak, and they both finished tied second to Casey.
Okay, right. How many selections?
Badly timed. Corey, oh, I better get this trivia. Well, was it a dying giraffe? Someone said.
Yeah, someone said you sound like a dying giraffe. Yeah,
he must have been on some good safaris.
A sad safari if you heard a dying giraffe. That would be awful, one of those, wouldn't it? Imagine going all the way to Kenya or somewhere and you hear a dying giraffe. That'd be awful.
It's horrible thought, isn't it? I don't know what noise they make. Rabbits make a really terrible noise, apparently, don't they, when they die? Someone told me.
I just don't know.
No.
Right then, 4 selections. Who are you going to go for as your number 1 hope?
My number 1 hope is Corey Connors, who we mentioned last week, I believe, how consistent he has become. He just churns out greens and regulations. Such a solid swing, long, straight hitting. On the greens, he can struggle, but this is all about having a magnificent long game this week at the Copperhead course. In his only previous start in this tournament in 2018, when he was world number 596, he actually led after each of the first 3 rounds. Pressure, understandably told on Sunday, dropped to 16th place, but it shows how well he's suited to this assignment. He played 2 events on the Florida Swing this year, 3rd at Bay Hill, 7th at the Players Championship, had a strong weekend in the Texas Open for 14th place, 8th in the Masters, 4th in the Heritage last time out. Corey Connors, rock solid each way investment. Half decent week of putting, victory number 2, PGA Tour victory number 2 coming on Sunday.
Okay, and the main danger?
The main danger.
I'm surprised you don't belch, by the way. Whenever I drink Coke and sort of glug it like you do, the next thing that's guaranteed is a massively great burp, but you don't seem to suffer from the same sort of gastric issues as I do.
No, you get used to it, I guess. I mean, it's just, if you drink so much of it, you get used to it. But I can do one for you. I can try and muster one.
No, don't.
The listeners want.
Lower the tone, do we?
No, we mustn't lower the tone. No, okay. You're going to like this next best. Next best, Justin Rose. Had a long time off before the Masters. Had some back problems, which he got sorted in that rest period. Got some good sessions in with Sean Foley, who he's reunited with. They had a short split, back together. And the Masters was superb. You know, set the early pace, dropped to 7th place. You had to take the positives from that. And then next time out, only one subsequent appearance in the Zurich Classic last week. And I thought he got no chance in the Zurich Classic last week, as Henrik Stenson's in such terrible form. They finished 11th, which was a great effort. So Rose can take great confidence from his last 2 starts. And he's teeing up this week at a course he loves. He's got 3 top 10s to his name at Copperhead. Last time he played it, he finished 5th. So, yeah, this is a major champion, former world number 1, former FedEx Cup champion, getting his act together at the age of 40.
Was Rose carrying Stenson there, or did they hold their own?
It was actually pretty close between the 2 of them. Yeah, I've done all that research. Rose slightly edged him, but it was a good effort. You know, Rosie's back in business. You know, he was in a small slump. You know, he's moving his family back over to Blighty. I think he took his eye off the ball a little bit. He thought going alone without a coach was going to help him, and it didn't. You know, he's put that behind him quickly. So yeah, I think Justin Rose is on the way back.
When you tip winners, does it make it even more special if they're nice, like Justin Rose's?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I like backing. Any winner's obviously fantastic, but you back someone you're not particularly fond of. I don't know, Ian Poulter springs to mind. I don't know why. You still get that satisfaction, but yeah, there's nothing like tipping a tipping someone you like.
Rose has to be nice, doesn't he? You know, with some sportsmen, they turn it on for the cameras or the microphones, and then they're not that nice in real life. But I mean, that can't be the case with Justin Rose.
No, I think you're right. But I sometimes find him annoyingly nice. I must be honest, which probably says more about me than anything. You know, you often go on about Peter Malnati, don't you? And he's so happy, so nice, and I just think, oh, shut up, mate. How can you be that happy and that nice? It's almost like. Yeah, I suppose it's. Yeah, I suppose.
If I was Justin Rose, I'd be pretty happy. Olympic gold medalist, multi-millionaire, lovely family, happy, plays golf for a living. I mean, Christ, if he can't be happy, what hope for the rest of us?
No, he's got every right to be happy. He's got every right to be happy. No, he can be happy this week, that's for sure.
Let's hope he's very happy at the end of this week. Okay, as well as Connors and Rose, who else have you got, Steve?
Then we got a couple of 150 to 1 chances.
Blimey.
And Keith Mitchell is the best of them.
Oh, he played well last week, didn't he?
He didn't just play well; he was the best player in the Zurich Classic in New Orleans. He played better than anyone. I mean, Cameron Smith, who we mentioned, played really well to help the Aussies win the title. But Keith Mitchell was even more impressive than Smith. He pretty much carried Brandt Snedeker throughout that tournament. They flirted with the lead on Sunday and finished 4th. Mitchell hinted at a return to form in the Texas Open in his last start as an individual. He finished 17th in the Texas Open. And given how well suited he is to this week's test, a long, tough test in Florida, he looks a massive price to me. He always talks about how much he loves the greens in Florida. He always putts better in Florida. He won the Honda Classic in Florida in 2019. Really, really brave win that. Repelled Brooks Koepka and Ricky Fowler, if I remember rightly. He's got 2 top 6 finishes to his name at Bay Hill. Only played in the Valspar once and finished 11th in 2017. So Keith Mitchell, really, really exciting bet this week, I must say.
Fantastic. And the other one?
And the other one is Peter Uihlein, an old weakness of mine. Used to back Peter Uihlein a lot. He's a massive underachiever. I mean, he's a former world #1 amateur, 2010 US amateur champion, huge natural ability. He's won on the European Tour, never won on the PGA Tour, but he got his second Corn Ferry Tour title the week before last. He finished runner-up in another Corn Ferry Tour event a month ago. So it seems like Uihlein's found his A game. And in the Zurich Classic last week, played with Richie Rowensky. Was a tough one to say. Jonathan Ross wouldn't be able to handle it. Finished third with Richie Rowensky in the Zurich. So Uihlein's just suddenly remembered how good he is at golf. He's based in Florida. I think he's good enough to make an impact this week.
Okay. Have you acquired a dog since we last met? I can hear a dog barking. Have you got maybe you've got a neighbour with an unruly dog?
No. You sure the dog's not in your neck?
No, I just heard it again. Oh well. Anyway,
no. I haven't acquired a dog. No, I've never been able to acquire a dog. I mean, Mum's allergic to dog hair. If I acquired a dog, it basically be saying to my mum, "I can never see you again," sort of thing. She's so sensitive to dog hair, it would kill her if she goes near a dog hair.
That's a shame. I think you'd actually love having a dog. Just that beautiful, constant companionship, unwavering loyalty. It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, not a Rottweiler though. What you?
No.
We'll have to have a long chat on this.
Yeah. If you ever are going to get a dog, give me a shout and we'll talk breeds. But you could have lovely long walks up the pylon into Bunkum Bumps and wherever else you are.
Bunkum Bumps,
Bumps, yeah.
I could get a small one though, because there's a Rottweiler lives over there, and it's so intimidating when it comes near my small children.
And does the owner go, "It's all right, don't worry, he's okay"?
Yeah, he's okay. Yeah, he's only playing. Yeah, he does. He says he's okay. Yeah. And then
it's not okay because my children need their nappies changed now. I haven't seen your dog. Yeah.
Yeah. And they can lose at any moment. You never know when they're going to lose it.
Sorry, that was me being a role player of you. My kids are 26 and 20, so they don't need their nappies changed. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay.
I don't want to linger on this point. I just want to public service warning to our listeners. Those Rottweilers are dangerous, all right? Because I spoke to another fella. There's another fella who walks a much smaller dog up the lane there. And the other day, I think maybe I was on a pylon walk. I spoke to him, and he said the Rottweiler had attacked his dog, and he had to go to the hospital with it. The veterinary clinic.
That is bad. There's no such thing as bad dogs, just bad dog owners.
Like it.
All right. There's lots of very nice Rottweilers and very nice German Shepherds and pit bulls and Staffies and all those, but if they've got a bad owner, then they're
is it? Yeah,
it'd be a bad dog. Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay. Anyway, who's the last one off the short list for the Valspar?
Jason Kokrak. Yeah. If Kitayama and Kokrak win this week, then I'll have to spend a week at the pylon. Jason Kokrak's got a great course record. He played really well on the Florida swing this year. He's obviously got a win since his last trip to the Valspar. He's got off the mark on the PGA Tour. Yeah, Cockrack. If you're going to have 5, go for Cockrack. I was just put off by their poor finish last week in the Zurich. Him and Pat Perez capitulated over the final few holes of the Zurich. So
let's have a quick word on the front 2 in the market. Justin Thomas and Dustin Johnson. Did either of them tempt you at any point during your studies?
Dustin had one good putting round last time out, finished 13th in the Heritage. You put a new putter in the bag for the final round, and it really performed well. So if that's not, one swallow doesn't make a summer, one swallow a summer doesn't make, whatever they say. So you need to see a bit more. But if Johnson starts putting well in the first round of this tournament, then he could go very close. Yeah, more prefer Johnson to Thomas.
Okay, let's have a solemn recap of the selections. Tenerife Open,
Antoine Rosner, Nikolai Hogard, Pep Angles.
Yep, and brackets Angles. And Valspar Championship?
Corey Connors, Justin Rose, Keith Mitchell, and Peter Uihlein.
Thanks very much, Steve. Where are we next week?
Great question. Well, we're staying where we are.
Back in Tenerife, aren't we?
Costa Hideki Matsuyama for another week. What are they calling it?
I'll tell you where we are next week. We're at Quail Hollow, one of my favourite courses. It's the Wells Fargo, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got the Canary Islands Championship, because I have to give them different names. Basically the same.
Yeah, sure. And anything exciting that you're looking forward to between now and next Tuesday when we reconvene? Haircut,
and playing sports with my children. That's my great passion in life. They're both coming on nicely on sports. Grace plays football now. Tommy, obviously, going to be the best golfer that's ever lived.
Brilliant. All right, and Steve, thank you very much indeed. Good luck with your tips. Hopefully no despair this week, just happiness. Thanks very much for joining us on The Sweet Spot. We're back next Tuesday.